I've been struggling a little bit recently, and I wanted to talk about it because I'm not putting out as many videos as I'd like, or as I have done in the past. And some of that has got to do with time. Since coming back from my brother's wedding in August, I've really struggled to find the time to get on the bike, to work, to do family stuff, just to do life. And I don't know where the time's going. I have been trying to fit in some extra things. I've been to 3 NFL games in London this month or last month, and been doing some other things with the family. But time just seems to have become something that I have a lot less of. I need to sort that out. And one of those things I've been trying to go, we've got Merlin passes as a family, as you know, and I've been trying to go as many times as possible in the last few weeks because I know how much my daughter enjoys it. But also for another reason, it's not just time that is weighing on my shoulders at the moment as well. I've been wanting to get the value and visit as many of the parks as possible to get the value out of the passes, because the way things are going up in price at the moment, the energy prices in the UK, in lots of the world, are shooting up. And we're getting to the point where I don't know whether we could actually afford to spend the money next year on Merlin passes for us as a family. And as much as my daughter would be devastated to know that we didn't have a pass next year, it's just things are happening that started making me think about financial side of it as well. And the interest rates going up recently. Our mortgage is up for renewal in the middle of next year. And at the moment, if we renewed at the current prices, our mortgage would be going up by hundreds, not low hundreds either, high-end hundreds of pounds a month. That really knocked me off kilter for a little while. I've kind of got my head around it now. There's not a lot we can do about it. We are cutting back now, and that's the other thing. We're kind of this realization that things within our life and what we do and at the weekends and stuff is going to have to be cut right back. We're going to have to cut accordingly. It's just weighed on me for a little while, and I felt a little bit down about it, if I'm honest, because it's just going to change what we do. But I'm kind of out the other side of that. I'm thinking, well, there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to have to see what it's like in the middle of next year, and hopefully it won't be as bad as potentially it could be. So that's been weighing on me as well. The other thing is, as normally happens with me, is when I'm not in a good place, my diet goes out of the window. And I know you guys have heard this before. I hate it as much as you guys hate hearing it. But I feel awful. I genuinely feel awful. I feel tired, lethargic, no energy. My body aches. I'm not sleeping well. I just feel rubbish because I'm just turning back to eating rubbish. We decided to not go back onto the keto diet because it is a more expensive way to eat than we could eat. Buying a bag of cheap pasta is a lot cheaper than buying steak. And I know steak's the high end example, but yeah, so we're not gone back onto the keto diet, but I've not really gone back onto any diet, and I'm just eating rubbish again. And I need to stop that rot because I do feel rubbish. And I don't look forward to getting on the bike. I'm not riding anywhere near as much. It's becoming a struggle when I do ride. I joined the Tuesday Trundle on Tuesday, obviously. And I struggled. 45 minutes in, I was puffing pretty hard. And I had a rubbish night's sleep afterwards. My watch, I got a Garmin watch, so my stress levels were really, really high, and I really didn't sleep well. It's all kind of this cyclical thing, spiral downwards, and I need to put a stake in the sand and turn it around the other way to stop the rot before I throw away all of that effort that I put in earlier in the year. So we've had some news in the family, which I can't share with you because it's not my news to share, but it's kind of given me a bit of bounce. It's making me feel like, okay, I've kind of got my head around the financial thing and I'm going to deal with that when it comes. I need to get back on it. I need to get cycling more often and, eat a much healthier diet. And I'm sure I'll start to feel better, hopefully pretty quickly. But part of the reason I want to talk about it is because I'm drawing that line. and I'm saying, right, from now, I'm sorting it out. And that starts with a race. It starts with tonight's race in France, RGV, slightly longer race than we normally do. I'm just hoping that I can keep up with people and stay within that group. And I do better than I did on Tuesday, but I guess we're going to find out. I'll see you on the bike. So this route is RGV in France, relatively flat, which is quite good. You can see I've already fallen off the back of this group here, and I have to put up a bit of a burst to catch up with them again, a bit of a sprint, but I managed to. And I think, what do I think I'm going to potentially is going to be difficult for me in this race? Number one, obviously, that I haven't been feeling that great on the bike, low on energy. And Tuesday's trundle, I just, as I mentioned before the ride, I just didn't feel particularly good during that. So I thought if that comes into this race, I'm going to struggle a little bit. But also there's a short, sharp climb up to a bridge, kind of over, I think it's the water, about 2/3 of the way through this course. That will be the point that if I'm still with the group, is going to be, I'm going to have to put in some effort. If everyone else pushes up there, I'll have to push pretty hard with my large body to keep up with them. And that could be the point that I lose the back of the group. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. We group up for a lot of this race actually as a D group, a big D category as well, which is awesome. I see Rob, C. Cross, B. Jenkinson, Tim Glasby, R. Harvey, I. Ferguson. It's moving around as it always does quite a lot. And some new faces in there as well. So welcome to all the new riders within the group. But we settle in quite nicely. We are, only just over a minute in at the moment. I've caught up with the group. I've kind of settled in at 24 kilometres to go. 5 minutes, 3 kilometres in, and the D group has come together really nicely. A big D group in this one. Hopefully that'll help out the D group because it's in the flat. But as you can see, my power at the bottom, I'm trying to stay more consistent with my power output instead of the yo-yoing. It gets worse as races go on, as everybody knows, but I'm trying to stay consistent and stop that yo-yo effect of dropping off the back, pushing hard, ending up at the front, backing off, and then just yo-yoing between, and trying to just stay with the group whilst also taking some turns on the front, just working on that race by race. Hopefully I can carry that on through the rest of this race. I've actually got some footage here from Christopher Waring, who sent some stuff over of the B category. Who have we got in the Bs? I can see the C slightly ahead. So Chris, Jupp, Colin Moore, C Swan, C Waring, N Slevin, B Bishop, all riding together. It's going to be a big ask for the categories, especially with the D group being as big, for the categories behind to catch on the flat. It could come together, as I mentioned, that small hill. I don't know whether it's long enough, but it is a chance for the stronger riders to catch a little bit. So let's see how they get on. They got just under 23 kilometres to go. As you can see here, I take my eye off the ball for a little bit. I don't know what I'm doing. I must have got a message or something. I genuinely can't remember. But I start to fall off the back slightly. So I have to put a bit of a red effort in to catch up. But I eased off earlier than I normally would, hoping that I would coast back into the group. Because this is one of those moments I'd shoot out the front again because I wouldn't hold up until I'd caught the group. And it seemed to work quite nicely. I'm back into the group, into the draft, without having to go massively into the red that I'd normally do. And I'm hoping over the course of a race that will benefit me more without expending too much energy. Let's can we see any sea cats on there? I can see the sea cat slightly behind. Is that 1 minute 38 still behind 1 minute 40? If we have a look over at the B cat, where's the gap to them, between them and the guys in front of them in the sea cat? 1 minute 12 at the moment. So gap is coming down across all categories. It'd be interesting to see how quickly, if at all, the Bs can catch the Cs, and then if they group together to come after the D group as well. C-Cat have closed that gap to 1 minute 22 from a 2 minute gap from the start of the race. Still plenty of time to catch. We're 12 minutes in, 17 kilometres left to go. You can see my graph's got a little bit red, but that was just some small little bumps that I was just making sure that I put out some power to stay within the group. You can see how I dropped down afterwards to make sure I didn't shoot out the front of the group there. If we head over to the B cat, where are they now in regards to the C? So they've closed their 1.5 minute gap at the start of the race down to about 50 seconds roughly. Still working together as a group. So doing really well. It's going to be interesting. I think there'll be a point where they catch the C's. They will create a bigger group and see if that draft gets them towards the D cat maybe a little bit later in the race. But 17 kilometers left to go for the D cat. It's going to be tight. Nearly got caught out here. It ramps up for a very short and brief 4% little bump, and I'm kind of towards the back of the group, and it caught me out a little bit, and everyone at front sort of, I could see them moving into the distance, so I had to put a bit of an effort in to kind of not just get up the hill but also close that gap a bit. We came over the top to -4%, and I coasted down a little bit, tried to catch on the back to hope that I stayed in the draft, and I did manage to coast up behind them in the end, and that could have been a point where I'd lost the back of that group, because you can see, whilst obviously the downhill benefits a larger rider like myself, you're never going to overcome a group draft of that size. So it's a good thing I was paying attention, because there was a chance that I would have lost the group there on that tiny little bump. But I mean, this D-Cat has stayed together pretty much all the way through this race. A couple of people off the front have then been brought back in, and there's a little cycle of people working at the front and then sitting in with the group. 16 minutes in, still got 15 kilometers left to go, and the gap is 1 minute 20. So doing okay at the moment. We're over the halfway stage now. We've got a gap back of 1 minute 9 seconds. So we're over halfway. That suggests they might not be able to catch the D group, but we are about to head into that climb up. You can see I've had to put out some red zone just to keep up with some of the guys at points here. And now I've got to work hard. I've got to work hard to stay in that group and not see it disappear up the top. I know it's short and sharp, and I know that these are the ones that can, if there's a hill that I can work on and get up and put out a quick effort, this is it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to stomp on those pedals, keep the power up, 370 watts, 380 watts, over 400 there, just to make sure I catch onto the back and stay. And I can, in my mind, I know this is 5%, but I can see the brow of that hill, and it's a bit of relief at the top actually as I get over and think, actually, I've managed to stay in with this group. I'm hoping I coast a little bit here, but I'm hoping that we can bring this DCAT group back together on the downhill, because that has its potential to split it as well. And I know at this stage I'm putting out a big blast there of over 750 watts, because I know that I need to be in that group at the front for the downhill. Otherwise I could watch them fly off and disappear in front of me. So a little bit of effort required on this part, but I am struggling a bit. I am feeling it in my legs, but nowhere near as much as I was expecting. I thought I would have been lost off the back before we even got anywhere near this hill. So, and the group, as you can see, comes back together and actually coasts down that hill pretty much together as a group. Having a quick look over, that gap is down to 50 seconds. So you can see what that hill's done. It's closed that gap right down to 50 seconds. As we can now see the B's, they are heading up that little climb as well. Their gap to the C's is 30 seconds. So we know the C's are pretty much on that little bridge over the top. And I don't think it'll be long until the B-Cat catch them. Chris is putting down 4.6 watts per kilo. N Corbin there as well, 5 watts per kilo. So they're putting in a lot higher numbers than what the D-Cat were, as expected from a higher category, obviously. They're definitely more spread out. Every time we've been to look at this category, they're sort of more spread out on the road than the D group, although there are less of them. So I guess it's likely to happen like that, as they're about to come over the top and on their charge to catch the C cat. We've hit the slightly more lumpy section of the course now. It is more up and down between now and the rest of the course, the remaining 7.5 kilometers. And you can see my power graph has followed that exactly. Not only is it the hills causing that, it is my usual on power, off power, on power, off power that I get to later on in races. Something I need to work on. Have been working on clearly earlier in the race, but yeah, now I'm into that stage where it's just hang on, try and stay with the group for as long as possible. Maybe, just maybe, I can be in and amongst it towards the back end of the race. 40-second gap, so feeling quite confident at this stage that we can hopefully hold off the C group as long as the Bs don't come charging through. Looking over at the Bs, their gap, they've got that gap down to 17 seconds now between them and the C Cat in front. C Coas West, H10 Plaza, P Morris, Craig. So I'm sure they'll be closing that gap pretty quickly on those guys in front, and hope that maybe they'll work together to try and close that gap to us in the D Cat out front. Here we go then at the 30-minute mark. 4.7 kilometers left to go. The Bs have caught the Cs. I'm assuming they're going to sit in and work together. I know I've mentioned it earlier in the race. I'm assuming that they're going to do that, just knowing what the guys in the group are like, trying to make that bigger group, more draft, more benefit of the larger group of riders, and try and catch us in the D group out the front. Let's have a look at the D group. Where are we? We have a 38-second lead with just under 4 kilometers left to go. This could be tight, actually, and you can see the lumpiness of this course is causing red spikes in my my power graph as I go along, but I'm still hanging in this group. Heart rate up at 172. I'm still doing my best to hang on for as long as I possibly can. And as I said, hope that I'm there towards the end. I've fallen slightly off the back here, so I have to put out a bit of a burst to catch back on, but I managed to. 1.7 kilometers left to go. I'm losing the back of this group slightly, but putting down some effort to stay in, catch the back of the draft as much as I can. That group behind is still 26 seconds. So I'm feeling quite positive at this point that we might be able to hold that gap away. I'm not feeling positive about me being at the front of the D-Cat, but I'm feeling positive about a D-Cat group rider possibly winning this one. I'm not enjoying these rollers. We're doing this course in reverse as stage 4 of the T2.5 World Tour, where we do these rollers first. I don't know whether I like that idea or not, but it does feel a little bit harder having it towards the end of the race. Let's go back and have a look at it from the point of view of Chris. And this group definitely working together to try and close that gap on us. But I think with 1.4 kilometers left to go, they might be slightly running out of time, although clearly putting in some big numbers and some fast speed rolling through these rollers. 600 meters to go, and I've slightly fallen off the back of the group, partly because the group is sped up and I'm not paying attention, but mostly because I'm really struggling at this point. I put in a burst here up at nearly 900 watts just to kind of get back into the group. I roll out in front of the group and then I realise that my race is done. I cannot join in the sprint to the line. I don't know whether anyone thought that I was sprinting there. As A. Hugavine goes for it, 11 watts per kilo. I. Davies, DC Marks, Rob C, R Harvey all go for it. I think this is going to be won by A. Hugavine. I can't quite see the people at the front, but awesome sprinting, and the group is pretty much stuck together. We'll have a look at the final results in a second. I roll over the line there, and as we jump back to this group, who don't quite catch us, but some huge numbers going here as well. R. Corbin, all over 10 watts per kilo. Chris, I think it's gone early enough, time that just right to come in front of S West, or N Corbin and then S West, I think is how that finished. Yes. C Jupp, N Corbin, S West, and then C Waring. Let's check over the full results. A. Hugavine does win it, 39.56. Everyone else behind, just a matter of split seconds. I. Davies, Rob C, C Cross, I. Ferguson in 5th, R. Harvey 6th, DC Mark 7th, me in 8th, just over 40 minutes. Only a 1.9 watts per kilo average, not up near where I can do, although it did feel quite a difficult race, if I'm honest. Jay Dreyer in 9th, John Kerr, who I know is still recovering from the illness, in 10th, B. Jenkinson in 11th, and then that was a less than a second gap to the first B Cat across the line. C Jupp, N Corbin, S West, C Waring, P Morris in 16th, A Pimer, PZZoo, all of these within split seconds of each other. C Swan, N Slevin, C Cole, H10 Plaza. There's my head again saying hello. S Greaves in 23rd. C Moore 24th. C Finlayson, M Blundell, Crocs, aka Crocs in 27th, and MK in 28th. So I did a lot better there than I thought I was going to do. I thought I'd fall off the back early, given how I was feeling on Tuesday. But I held with them to the end. I couldn't sprint. Didn't have the effort after I had to put that effort into keeping up with them or catching them in the last corner. But I don't care. Just to manage to stay to the end, amazing. I finished 8th. And to keep the C's and the B's behind us, I know it kind of plays into our favour. A slightly flatter course with the D's. It slightly favours the D category with the time gap that we've got. But awesome racing, everybody. I've thoroughly enjoyed it and made me feel good to be back on the bike again. Just a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. After I recorded the intro to this video, I was having a chat with Chris Jupp and Craig. Craig, as you know, runs the Tuesday Trundle as the ride lead on a Tuesday night. And Chris has been brilliant with jumping in and helping me out with picking groups, picking rides, routes, helping me check race results and things to make sure I'm not being silly. He's picked up so many errors and stuff. Those two guys are awesome. And I was having a chat with them afterwards, and they said that they're going to take over the setting up of rides and races for the T2.5 community, which is an amazing thing for them to offer to do. It takes the pressure off me slightly so that I can focus more on doing the videos and, you know, doing other stuff for the group. But setting up of the rides and things that they are going to do, and I can't thank them enough. Thank you so much. And you've now got someone else to blame if you don't like the routes that we're doing. Usually Chris Jupp. He'll start picking some... I've said to him, please don't pick continual hilly routes. Let's try and stick to the T2.5 way of, you know, a few mix of different routes as we go along. But yeah, thank you so much to you guys. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we use Spond, or used to use Spond more often to set up rides and races and notify, because before we had Zwift clubs, we'd have to do all of our rides using the meetup function in the companion app. We don't have to do that anymore, and we use it now just for our Saturday rides. That is all we are going to use it for going forward, because we post the race links, Tuesday Trundle and the race links and the tour links, all of that stuff in Discord, Facebook, on the YouTube channel, many places that we put them. So we're going to stop putting them on Spond going forward and just use it for Saturday. And when Zwift, if and when Zwift enable banded rides in the companion app, then we will switch Spond off, because it's just another bit of admin level to add into the process. So just thought I'd let everyone know that if you're not already on Facebook or Discord now feels like the central hub for the group. So if you're in the Facebook channel but not in Discord, I really do recommend having a user on Discord and having a look at the Discord channel. It might seem quite daunting. It did to me at first, but actually all the categories are in, you know, all the chat is in categories, so that you can go and find exactly what you want, be involved with the chat that you want, and ignore the stuff you don't want. And there's a lot of chatter that goes on the Discord channel now. So if you haven't done it already, do join. The link is in the description of this video. And yeah, my watch is continually pinging with people posting messages on there, which is awesome. But as usual, I want to say another massive thank you to the channel members, because as I said at the start, they're going up the screen now. As I said at the start, I haven't been putting out as many videos as I would like to, and I want to get back to that. And to have you guys still supporting the channel is amazing. So thank you very much. But that is the end of this video. I'm hoping this is the kickstart that I need. I'm looking forward to Sunday's race. Hopefully that goes as well as the Thursday race went. We shall wait and see. But thank you very much for watching. If you had enjoyed it, do hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.